everybody. Please make sure that you do the evidence. Make sure the phone does not ring during the class. This class is being videotaped and recorded. So Be'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we'll send a link for everybody registered in the email system of the Midrasha program. So let me switch to my recording voice. Good evening, everyone. Beruchot habaot. Welcome to a very special night to the Chovita Kochav Ladies Midrasha at the Edmond J. Safra Synagogue in Aventura, Florida. Today, for the very first time, we have the privilege and the honor of welcoming Rabbi Alon Anava, which, although this is the first time that I meet him face to face, we go back many years. He knows it and I know it because I've listened in our home many of to his wonderful shiurim that inspired thousands of people worldwide. The Talmud says, "Tzad shikho befanav." When you need to praise someone and the person is in front of you, you should not say a lot. So that should be sufficient to give the rabbi a warm shalom aleichem, a warm welcome to our synagogue, and a welcome to all the wonderful ladies that came tonight to the Midrasha program. This class also is being videotaped live to the Lighthouse Torah project, and also is being recorded to be uploaded Be'ezrat Hashem to iTorah.com, in which the link will come to everyone that is registered. At the end of the class, if someone would like to get the weekly audio link of the Midrasha, please write your name and email address on the notepads, and the rabbi graciously accepted to receive a few questions at the end of the class. So we say to the rabbi, Yelechu mechayil el hayil, may you go from strength to strength, may you continue being Hashem's ambassador to help many people come back to the ways of Torah, Mitzvot, and Ma'asim Tovim. Amen.
Toda rabba, chazak u'baruch. Thank you so much, Kvod Harav. For me, it's also a very big zechut to be here in the Edmond Safra Shul. Not many people know it, but my family comes from Syria. And about 100 plus years ago, my family lived in Lebanon, and my grandfather was a classmate with Edmond Safra. So every time I come to a Safra Shul, I feel that I'm doing some Ilui Neshama to my Saba, Zichrono Livracha. So, first of all, Toda Rabba Kevod Harav, and thank you all for coming. My name is Alon Anava. Baruch Hashem, I come to visit from Eretz Israel. I live in Tzfat, Ir HaKodesh, the holy city of Tzfat. And Baruch Hashem, I have the zchut to come to teach and to speak in front of many, many people in the Gola, to lechazek neshmot Israel. Tonight, we want to talk about a very special topic. Like the rabbi asked, if you don't mind to turn your phones off, this is going to require from you a lot of concentration. Be'ezrat Hashem, at the end of the class, I will give some time for questions, and I will try to answer everybody's questions at the end. But I want to talk about something very, very important, because many people, they live their life and they miss the point of their life. Every individual needs to ask 3 questions at least once a week, once a month, if not once a day. The first question that you want to ask yourself is, what is the essence of life? What did I come to this world? I came to this world to build a house, make a bank rich by paying a mortgage for 40 years, going on a few vacations and then leaving. That's what I came for. This is the essence of life. It must be something much more deeper, something much more profound. And I need to ask myself what it is so I will not miss it. The next thing a person needs to ask himself very often is, am I going on the right path? You do not want to find yourself after 60, 70, 80 years that you're looking back and you're saying, I was not going on the right path for the last 80 years. We have a very big sechut that we opened in Tzfat, a midrasha for women. But this is not a regular midrashah. This is a midrashah for women that are older that want to learn Torah. We have students in their 60s, students in their 70s. We have a student, she's 79 years old. And we have the exact same thing for men. This is not a yeshiva for men in their 20s or 30s. These are old men, they want to learn Torah. Our older student is 84 years old. The reason I'm telling you this is because I see on a daily basis people in their 60s and their 70s that's when they wake up. That's when they do teshuvah, and that's when they say, all my life I was going on the wrong path. So one needs to ask himself constantly if he's going on the right path. And the third and most important question that you want to ask yourself is, am I fulfilling the purpose of my existence? Each and every one of us has a purpose in this world. Like I told you did not come here to build a house, eat in restaurants, go on vacations, and then leave this world. Each and every one of us has a purpose in this world. I want to know if I'm living up to my purpose. If I can answer all these three questions, then I'm going to go on the right path, and that's what I want to talk about tonight, because there are many ways to find your purpose. There are many ways to find what's the point of your existence. Tonight, we want to talk about specifically our name. Our name has a very deep significance, and our name is not just something that somebody called me. This is not for the Social Security or for the mail. My name is something very, very special. My name is going to be able to tell me a lot about myself, about my characteristics, about my path, about my past, about my future. The name holds in it a lot of valuable information that if you know how to analyze your name, even on a very superficial way, then you're able to find very, very important, vital information about yourself. And tonight we want to talk a lot about the essence of my existence. Because I was born in Eretz Israel and I was raised in a very, very secular background. I didn't have any connection to the Torah. Not Shabbat, not Tefillin, not Kiddush, not Pesach, nothing. And when I was 27 years old, I suffered a near-death experience. My heart stopped. I had 7 minutes, I didn't have pulse. I had what's called a clinical death, Mavet Klini. My soul left my body, saw what's going on in the Olam HaEmet, and came back, and this is the result. So 27 years, I missed my essence. I did not go. I was going on some path with no point, with no matara, with no purpose in this world. So it's important for every person to know what is their purpose. There are many ways to find out. Tonight we're going to talk about one of the ways through our name. The teachings of Kabbalah explains, this is brought down by the Ari HaKadosh, Rabbi Yitzchak Lurian. He explains that when the person is being named, the parents look at the baby and they get a glimpse of Ruach HaKodesh, Me'ein Nevuah. It's like a little prophecy when they look at the baby. And they say a name, Moshe, Chaya, Rachel. That's why it's extremely important that nobody interferes in naming the name. Sometimes in-laws, parents, neighbors say, name the child like this, name the child like that. Only the parents need to name the child. Why? Because the essence of the soul already has on it engraved the name of the person. Now, the teachings of Kabbalah also explains that every letter in the Hebrew language holds in it a certain energy, a certain power, that when you put the letters together, it shifts the energy. Last week I gave a class, an introduction to a very long course about the meaning of our Jewish letters. The class will be posted online, but the course is going to start when I get back home to my yeshiva, and we're going to go one letter after the other. Every letter will be one class. The mystical meaning behind the letter Aleph, the letter Bet, the letter Gimel. Very, very interesting. But in very general, we know that every letter has a certain energy. The letter Aleph has a certain energy. The letter Bet has a certain energy. Put the letter Aleph and Bet together, it changes the energy. Because it's already forming a word. Put another letter, and the more letters you add, you are changing the form of the energy of the letters. The easiest way to explain it, because a lot of people say, what is energy? What, I go to the gym and I have energy? People are mistaken that I can produce energy from something physical in this world. The proof that nothing in this world produces energy is go now to a dead person and give him an energy bar. Would it make any difference? No. The energy bar will not give any energy. The energy comes from the neshama. The neshama leaves the body, there is no energy. So a lot of people ask, what is energy? The easiest way to explain what's energy is to compare it to a mood. One day you're happy, one day you're sad. One day you're grouchy, one day you are very excited. Every day is a different mood. How come today you're happy? How come yesterday you were sad, and so forth? That's not so important right now why the moods are changing. But to explain in very general what is energy, just refer to it as mood. My mood today is happy, so my energy is happy. Every letter contains a certain energy in it, and it's important to know that when you switch the letters, put letters together, it will change the energy. Now, first I have to understand what is the essence of the name of a person. I'm sure you notice that in Yahadut, in Torah, there's a lot of importance to the name. All the Torah is constantly mentioning names. And even in our faith and in our customs, a lot of chashivut, a lot of importance behind the name. So we want to understand what is the meaning of the name. The Book of Yetzirah explains, the Book of Yetzirah is the first book of Kabbalah, book of formation, was given to us by Adama Rishon. This information was given to Adama Rishon from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. He gave it to his son Shet, who passed it on to Noach, who passed it off to Shem, and passed it on the generation till it came to Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu compiled the book. Later on, Rabbi Akiva is the one who wrote it all together. Now we have a very, very sophisticated, deep book of Kabbalah. The book of Yetzirah explains that every letter, the energy that it's containing, there are three paths how this energy is running in the letter. The first path is the shape of the letter, tzurat ha'ot. Aleph is like this, Bet is like that. Every letter has a shape. This is the first energy, the path how the energy is running in the letter. The second one is how the letter is being said. Ah, ba, ga. Later on, it goes a little bit more sophisticated when you add the nikud, so gi, ga, go. But nevertheless, the second path of the energy that's running in the letters, how the letter is being pronounced. And the third one is the numerical value of the letter. So basic Gematria, we know Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, and so forth, but Gematria becomes much more sophisticated. One example out of many how the Gematria of the letter will change is if you take the letter Aleph, and the Gematria of Aleph is 1, but if you write the word Aleph, Aleph Lamed Pei, now you have a whole different numerical value, and so forth. The letters that we see, the letters of Lashon Kodesh, these are the building blocks of the creation of the world. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world like a painter that wants to make a beautiful painting. The painter needs colors, the painter needs paint, he needs paintbrushes, he needs a canvas. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world, he needed to create tools to create the world, and these are the letters of Lashon Kodesh. Now, most people think that we have 22 letters in the alphabet. Some people are a little bit one step ahead. They say, no, there's 27 letters because we have 5 letters that are called Otiot Mantzapach, Mem Sofit, Nun Sofit, Pei Sofit, and so forth. But again, the Book of Yetzirah explains that there were actually 28 letters. The 28th letter is a letter that is called Da'at. And when Adama Rishon sinned, that letter fell down. And we're missing a letter. Be'ezrat Hashem very soon Mashiach is going to come, we're going to get the letter back. Just imagine how much information we're missing because we're missing a letter in the Aleph Bet, in Lashon Kodesh. Now, every word that I put together, every milah, I take a combination of letters and I put it together. That combination of letters will create what's called a metziut, an existence, a reality. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the reality of light in the world. He took the letter Aleph, he took the letter Vav, he took the letter Reish, put them together, Ma yatsa, what we have, or. The energy of Aleph, Vav, and Resh together creates light. And so forth for every word and every combination. Now, how can a letter create a reality? That's something that's a little bit hard for us to understand. So every letter contains in it a certain code. Now, Baruch Hashem, it's very easy to teach Torah because we have technology. So almost anything that I would want to teach in Torah, I can right away point to technology. 50 years ago, they didn't have that. Now you're looking at computers, cell phones, hardware, software, everything has a code, a certain combination of letters that create a certain program. We don't see the program, but we use all day long. We use GPS, we use our email, WhatsApp, Facebook, applications. All day long we're using technology. Behind this technology, there's a secret that is called a code, and the code contains a certain programming language, and it creates the software, the hardware, the application. Same thing here. Every word, every letter has a code in it. Now, when I switch the order of the letters, it will change the code. Because you can take one word, switch the letters, and it will give me a whole different meaning. Sometimes I would remove one letter, it gives me another meaning, and so forth. So when I take a few letters and I put them together, then it creates a code. That code will create a reality. If I want to look at, for example, the table is Shin, Vav, Lamed, Chet, Nun, Shulchan, then the letters together, they create the reality of the table. Now, the easiest way to explain how the letters change a reality is that we have in this world millions and millions and millions of types of colors. But really, we only have 7 colors. Just that when you have the color blue, you have infinite amount of types of blue, infinite amount of types of green. Now, if you take blue and green and put them together, then you'll get purple. And then you'll get infinite amount of versions of purple. So, in reality, we have literally infinite amount of givanim, of tones of colors. Same idea. Take a lot of letters, put them together, different combinations, they will create a certain reality. We can relate with it, like the example I just gave with colors. But we're not. This is just a parable, just for us to understand, but the same idea is with the letters. Here we see, when I understand this, that the name that we have has a meaning to it. The fact that somebody is called Yehuda, Moshe, Rachel, there's a meaning to that. It's not a combination of letters and somebody just found an interesting name. Unfortunately, in our generation, people invent names, come up with all sorts of names, especially in Eretz Israel. In America, not so much. In America, maybe they'll have English names, but in Israel, they invent names. This is now what's popular. But really, our forefathers, the tzaddikim in our generations, they saw in their Ruach HaKodesh how a certain combination of letters will create a certain energy, so they decided this is how it's going to be called. So when Yaakov Avinu had 12 tribes, and we know how Rachel and Leah and Zilpah and Bilhah, they named the child based on what was the essence around it. Same thing when Sarah had Yitzchak, then she called him Yitzchak, Tzchok asa le'elokim. Kadosh Baruch Hu made me laugh and have laughter. So we see that the name has a lot of meaning. The name is not stam a combination of words. And not only that it's Ba'al Mashmaut, that it has a meaning, it can also teach me a lot about myself. My name. My name can teach me about my existence, my fate, things that happened to me in my life. I just need to know how to read between the lines. And Be'ezrat Hashem, today we'll talk in a very brief way, because this is really a topic that in my yeshiva we started a course about the names. I know a lot of people, when I give this lecture, at the end of the lecture tell me, my name is Sarah, what does it mean? My name is Chaim, what does it mean? There's a way to do it. It takes a couple hours to sit and analyze the name and to give a lot of information. Lo aleinu, you know, when we see that sometimes the name changes the essence of a person, is when a person is very, very sick and they add a name or change the name or remove a letter or add a letter. So the name itself has a lot of meaning, and we want to understand very, very briefly so I can have something to go out with tonight. Very, very important that a name should always be at least 3 letters. Because the more letters you have, the more energy you have in your name. It's not so good to call names that are short, like Dan, Gad, Ran. These are names with 2 letters. So if you already called a person like that, no need to go now and lose your mind and start changing names. This is b'diavad. When you're already naming a child, not good to call short names. It's always good to call at least names with 3 letters to 6 letters. Not to start calling a child Achashverosh and Ahamenidijad and all sorts of names that are 12 letters. 3 to 6 letters, this is a good name. Why is it important to have at least 3 names? Because 3 letters, toda. Why is it important? Because every letter in its place will represent one thing. Very, very briefly to explain, maybe some of you, it will sound for you familiar, but we all know that we have a neshama in our body. Our neshama is built from 5 different levels. From the bottom to the top, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. Really, it's not 5 levels, it's 125 levels. Because every one of these levels that I just mentioned has another 5 levels. And then in each one of these levels will have another 5 levels. Making the lowest of all nefesh, the nefesh, the nefesh, and the highest of all yechida, the yechida, the yechida. This is teachings of Kabbalah. Basically what it's telling us, that my soul is built from many, 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 many levels or many, many layers. What does it mean to me? It means that I have the opportunity to constantly grow and grow and grow and receive a greater capacity of godly revelation, greater capacity of beracha, greater capacity of knowledge, and so forth. There are 2 higher levels of the neshama, which is chaya and yechida, that we don't really relate with them. They're very holy and they don't penetrate into the body. But the neshama, the ruach and the nefesh are in the body, and the letters of the name goes as follow. The first letter of my name will correspond to my neshama. It's called Ot HaNeshama. What does it mean to me? This will teach me about previous lives that I had. Gilgulim. Not only that, it will teach me about what's called a goral, from a previous life. Not too long ago I gave a class, we started another course. You can find all these courses on my website. We gave a course. I also have here CDs, you can take some of them, they're all free. And it's part of this course. This course I was teaching why we have facial structure. Why some person the eyebrows are like this and one person the eyebrows are like that. One person the nose is wide, one person the nose is long. And more than that, why do we have lines on our hand? Why do we have fingerprints? Why do we have lines? What does it mean, all these lines? The reasons why we have all that is because the nefesh, the lowest part of the soul, actually goes into the body, dressed into the body, and it pushes the body out. So all these lines is coming from the soul, not from the body. In this course I was teaching that when you're looking at your hands, I know now everybody's going to be, ooh, can you look in my hand? But the lines of my hands tell me a lot about myself. If I'm a righty, the right hand will tell me everything about this life. My left hand will tell me everything about all my previous lives. So I know now everybody's looking. You will always look at me. I look at this direction. As soon as I talk, everybody's like, huh. But, not to be sidetracked, our body features and lines in our hands, what's called fingerprints and kematim, wrinkles, they tell me a lot about myself. Especially about where I came from, meaning previous lives. And why is it important to know? Because maybe I came here to do a tikkun, to do a rectification. Maybe I owe somebody money from a previous life. Maybe I did something wrong to somebody, now I have to fix it. And I don't understand why now I'm going through all sorts of problems in this world. Financial problems, marital problems, so many things. People don't understand why. Why? Because maybe you have a tikkun from a different lifetime. So it's important to know where I came from, because if I know where I came from and what baggage I'm carrying with me, easy for me to do the tikkun in this world. So the first letter of my name, Ot HaNeshama, will teach me about everything from the previous life. Not only that, it's going to teach me a lot about my own qualities, what we call in our generation talents. Talents, hobbies, everybody has a talent. One person is an artist, another person is a pianist, one person is an amazing cook, another person is a writer. Everybody has a talent. There's no such a thing that the person doesn't have a talent. And we have all sorts of qualities. One person can be charitable, kind, and can be also negative qualities, of course. The middle letter, this is called Ot HaMerkaz, the center letter. This will correspond to the next level of the neshama, calling Ruach. This will teach me what are the tools that God gave me in this world in order for me to fulfill my purpose. If I now build a home and I bring the painter and I tell them, paint me the walls, please. He will tell me, give me a paintbrush, bring me colors, paints, sandpaper, anything. You want me to do a job, give me the tools. God sent me to the world, He told me this is your job, here are your tools. The second letter will teach me what are my tools in this world. Many people say, what's my purpose in this world? Should I be a lawyer, should I be a doctor? Should I marry this person or that person? Should I live in here or here? There are many ways to find out in my life, what is my purpose? What I'm supposed to do here? And to focus on my purpose. I know people for 40 years, they're going after a completely wrong path, going and living a dream, and when they're 60, oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to be a doctor, I'm supposed to be a lawyer, and so forth. So, the second letter, like I said, will tell me what are my tools in this world, and what is my purpose in this world, and how to achieve it. The purpose of my creation, my desires. Every person has a different desire. One person wants to be famous, another person wants to be rich, another person wants to be successful, another person wants to be the fastest runner in the world, whatever. We all have desires. Not only that, it will teach me my potential. It will teach me also the path, what's called the path of interest. What is I need to focus on. Some people, they don't even know where to go and what path to choose. And it will also tell me about events in my life. This will kind of broaden my horizon. Where am I going and what am I doing? Not only that, it will also expose very deep levels of the structure of my soul. And again, I know I'm talking now very, very broad. I just want to kind of paint a big picture so we can kind of get to something a little bit more practical. The point tonight is that you leave tonight and you have some type of an idea, what does your name mean? And don't think that for 1 second you can throw a name in there and say Sarah and you get an answer, because you know how many Sarahs in the world? Tens of thousands. It doesn't mean all the Sarahs have the same quality, because it depends on many other things. Nevertheless, the last letter, this is called the Ot HaAcharona. This will teach me how do I take the potential that I have in my life and bring it into fact, into action. Leotzi me'akoach el ha'poal. I can have the best imagination, ideas that will be the next big hit in the world, but if I don't know how to put it out into action, it's not worth anything. So this will teach me how I take my potential and I transform it into action. Very important to understand that what I'm talking about tonight is very, very brief, very general. Like I told you, we started the course, it's very deep, very thorough. There are many books that one can learn from. Now we're doing it like kind of on the surface. Now, very general, it's important to know, some names are not good names, some names are good names. There are a lot of questions with their names. You don't want to call your son Haman or any other type of name. There are names that are not good names. But it brings a question, because we do know that there are some Tanaim, for example, great sages in the Talmud, that they carry names that are not such great names. There's a great Tana called Rabbi Ishmael. Ishmael is the other son of Avraham Avinu, and he was a little terrorist. So why would a Tana be called after his name? So this is where you see that a name can be the same name, but still have a good energy and bad energy. Because when you look at the name Ishmael, it means Ishma Kel. The Kadosh Baruch Hu can listen. So even if a name can sometimes be used to something good or something bad, it's important to know that you have the ability to choose where you take the name. So a lot of people say, oh, some names are bad. It's correct, but you have the ability to also direct the energy to a positive place. There is a story in the Talmud, just to emphasize what I'm trying to say, about Rabbi Meir. I'm sure you heard about Rabbi Meir Balanes. And he was known to be Doresh Bashemot. He would look at a name and give a lot of explanations. One time he went on a journey with his couple of his colleagues, and one of them was Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, and they went to fundraise. Believe it or not, even 2,000 years ago, the rabbis used to go and fundraise. They went to fundraise, but not for their yeshiva. They went to fundraise for what's called Pidyon Shvuim, to release prisoners. They went and they raised a lot of money. We didn't invent anything in our generations. But nevertheless, they went and raised a lot of money, and on the way back, they went to sleep in a hotel. It was Shabbat, so they couldn't keep the money in the room because it was muktzeh. So they went to the clerk of the hotel and says, "Can you keep us the money? Like today, you go to the hotel, they give you a safe." He says, "Okay." They gave him the money. Rabbi Meir asked him his name, and then said, "No, I'm not giving you the money." He went and took the money and he buried it outside the village in a cemetery. He says, "Nobody will start digging in a cemetery." And he buried the money there. Motzai Shabbat, they come to collect the money. The clerk tells them, "I don't know what you're talking about. Money? You gave me money?" They told him, "We gave you a lot of money. Erev Shabbat, where's the money?" He says, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. Wrong guy, wasn't me." And they lost the money. They turned to Rabbi Meir and says, "How did you know not to give him the money?" So Rabbi Meir says, "Very simple, I just asked him his name. And he told me his name is Kidor." Kidor? He says, "Yes, there is a verse in the Torah, in the book of Devarim, it says, Kidor ta'apuchot hema. This door, it will transform on you. It will, how do you say, switch real quick the how they deal with you." So he says, "This is a tricky guy, I don't want to give him my money." Nevertheless, later on the story says that they found the money, they took the money, everything was a good ending, was a Hollywood production, was a good end. But nevertheless, we see how sometimes the name can tell me about the essence of a person, but important to know that the name can be, also even if it's a negative name, can be directed to something positive. Now, like I told you before, it's not good to invent names. I know today people want to sound cool, exciting, come up with all sorts of weird names, and I told you, in America it's not so popular, in Israel it's popular. Hashem Yerachem, what people name their kids. Names that don't even make sense, after objects or animals or colors and nonsense. Why is it not good? Because it doesn't give good energy to the chayut, the life of the neshama. Our forefathers, when they named the child, they saw the chayut, the energy in the person, and they named it. That's why we have the custom that we name our kids after great tzaddikim, after great rabbanim, after our forefathers and matriarchs and so forth. We don't know this. We don't have this Ruach HaKodesh to say, "Ooh, this looks to me like a good combination, so therefore better to follow our heritage and to call good Jewish names." This is I'm saying as a side note, because in America, unfortunately, many people, they change their name. If they're Yaakov, suddenly they're Jake, or sorts of things like this. This is not good. If a person's name is Yaakov, he should be called Yaakov, not Jake, and not Mickey, and not all sorts of shortcuts. It's not good to do that. Why? Because when a person is named a certain way and is not hearing that name, the life force in the energy of the soul doesn't get up, doesn't wake up. And if you have to call your son, child, husband, some name like this, at least once a week, call the person by his real name. And if the person has two names, Chaim David, whatever it is, say the two names. Why? Because by calling the name, it's arousing the energy in the neshama. That's why you see that sometimes when somebody faints, they call him by his name. Why? Because the name, that's how you wake up. If you sleep and somebody will say a word like good morning, you're not necessarily going to wake up. But somebody calls your name, you get up. So like I said, milachatchila, from before you start, before the act, better to call the name at least 3 letters, not too long, definitely not short, and to have a good name. Now, What else can I learn from my name? If you're looking at the word soul in Hebrew, neshama, it's written Nun, Shin, Mem, Hey. Nun has a numerical value of 50, which is teaching us about the highest level in Kedusha, what's called Sha'ar HaNun, the 50th gate. Moshe Rabbeinu reached Sha'ar HaNun. We don't reach Sha'ar HaNun, but at least we have something to hope to. But Sha'ar HaNun, the number 50, is symbolizing to me the max, the highest potential in Kedusha, means the highest level a human being or even a neshama can reach in the spiritual worlds, the highest of all. On the other side of the name I have a Hey. Nun is the first letter, Hey is the last letter. Hey is the letter that the Kadosh Baruch Hu used to create the world. If you're looking at the letter Hey, it shapes with a top, wall, and a little leg. The bottom is open. Our sages explain that the Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world with the letter Hey. Behi bar'am, behei bera'am. With the letter Hey, he created this world. Why is it empty on the bottom that has no floor? To teach you that this world is dangerous. At any given moment, you can fall down to the depth of the lowest places in this world. But the Hey is also teaching you something very nice, and even if chas v'shalom a person fell and failed, אין ייאוש, לא צריך להתייאש, you shouldn't fall into despair. Why? Because look at the letter Hey, has on the top left a window. A little window where somebody can climb in and up and go in and do tshuva. This is the difference between the letter Hey and the letter Chet. The letter Chet looks like a Hey, just that it's closed on the side, nowhere to do tshuva. If a person dies b'chet'o, Adam met b'chet'o, person dies and he still didn't do tshuva, there's no place to climb up. In this world, we have the opportunity to do teshuvah. The letter Hey represents the fact that this world is a danger. I can, with one word, take myself to the worst place in the world, in the universe. So I have to be careful. There's a tehom, there's a pit underneath me. So again, looking at the word neshama, the Nun represents the highest place of spirituality. The Hey represents the lowest place in this world. What's in the middle of the word neshama? When you move away the Nun and the Hey, you're left with Shin and a Mem. Shin and Mem forms the word Shem, the name. My name is the tool that connects the highest place, the essence of the neshama and spirituality, to the lowest place in this world. So my name can teach me everything that I need to know, from the top to the bottom, from beginning to the end, and what I need to do. Now, excuse me. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו ומלך העולם, שהכל נהיה בדברו. Now, there are many, many different ways, to analyze the name. Last year I made a tour in the East Coast and the West Coast, and I gave a much longer form of this lecture. And we advertise that if somebody wants to get a name reading, to make an appointment, and we'll do a name reading. Ooh, we got thousands of emails. I was working from morning to night. But I was explaining people to make a real name reading, that takes a long time. It's not that it's 2 minutes, hocus pocus, and you have it. It has a lot of components in it. So tonight, we're not going to get this information, but I want to talk about one component in my name that is very, very profound, that will also give me some tools, because my point tonight is not to impress you. My point tonight is that you go out of this door with some type of material that you can apply it in your life. So, this world, both the physical and the spiritual, is built from 4 elements: fire, earth, water, and air. These 4 elements will build anything in the physical world and in the spiritual world. When you want to know about anything of existence in this world, you go to the elements, because the elements is the mixture of what will create everything in this world. From inanimates to vegetation, to animals, to humans, to souls, and so forth. Just for the sake of the example, this is a beautiful wooden table. The table contains in it all 4 elements. Cannot have only 1 or 2. The rule is that there's always going to be one element that is dominating, which means that it's the most of this element, one element that is the least, two elements that usually are more or less the same. That's usually the case. So in this table, in this beautiful wooden table, there's the element of air, the element of fire, the element of water, and the element of afar, of earth. You don't see here the water, you definitely don't see here the air, and you definitely don't see here the fire. What you see here the most, maybe, is the afar, is the earth. How do we know that wood comes from the element of afar? Burn the wood, it will become ashes. Some other materials, you will burn them, they'll become air. Now, when you really understand the mahut, the essence of the elements, it will teach you a lot about yourself. To take a little sidetrack for 1 second, because really, the purpose of our life is not what you think. And even if you are observant, fully observant, it's still not 100% the purpose of our life. The teachings of Kabbalah explain something very, very profound. There are many great Mekubalim in different generations. If you say the word Kabbalah, most people will relate to it with one special rabbi, which is of course the Ari HaKadosh, Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. There are many great Mekubalim Acherim, others, but he's the dominating one. He had a student called Rabbi Chaim Vital. The Ari HaKadosh didn't write books. He wrote papers, like me. See, I write notes. The Arizal wrote notes. 99% of them he burned. We don't even have the Ktavim of the Arizal. The ones that we have is just a little bit. He taught his knowledge to his student wrote books. One of the books that the follower, the disciple of the Arizal, Rabbi Chaim Vital, wrote is called Sha'arei Kedusha, Gates of Holiness. The book is this small. I don't know if there's a good translation to it, but nevertheless, if you read Hebrew, I highly recommend to read it. It's, even though he's a teacher of Kabbalah, this is not a book of Kabbalah. There's tzad Kabbalah in it, but it's more basic book, what to do in this world. And he says there's something very, very powerful. Yes, we have to learn Torah, we have to follow the Torah, we have to perform mitzvot and so forth. But my main essence, my main point in this world is to refine myself. And he calls it Tikkun HaMidot. To refine my midot, my characteristics, my character traits. Different rabbis will call it different. For example, the Gaon from Vilna doesn't call it Tikkun HaMidot, he calls it Lishaber et HaMidot, break your midot. Now is a very, very good time to learn about it, because in 2.5 weeks is Pesach, is the time for me to work on myself. The teachings explains as follow. Shlomo HaMelech says, Ze l'umat ze bara Elokim. The Kadosh Baruch Hu, everything that he created in opposition. One side is Kedusha, positivity and holiness. One side is Tum'ah, impurity and unholy. Everything has what's called a Le'umat Ze. Ze Le'umat Ze. For example, take Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest leader of all, the greatest prophet of all generations. The Le'umat Ze of Moshe Rabbeinu was Bilam HaRasha. Our sages explain that if Bilam would take his energy to a positive way, he would be greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. But nevertheless, Moshe Rabbeinu is Kedusha, Emet, and Bilam HaRasha is Sheker and Tum'ah. The same way in Tikkun HaMidot. There's always going to be good midot on the right side, bad midot on the left side. We are all born with midot. One person is charitable, kind, patient, loving, giving, and so forth. There are dozens of midot. Everybody will be born with good midot and with bad midot. The bad midot can be ge'ava, pride, ego, kaas, atzvut. Kaas is anger, atzvut, sadness, depression, to be cheap, to be judgmental. Hashem merachem, the long list of the bad midot. If you want to do yourself a favor, you bring yourself to a level that you understand what are the bad midot that you acquire, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person, it doesn't mean something wrong with you. It means this is what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants you to refine. You find out very quickly what are your bad midot to start working on them. Now if I have to work on the midah of kaas, of anger, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to give me a wife that's going to get me angry all day long. If I have to work on the midah of the attribute of patience, the Kadosh Baruch Hu are going to give me 6 kids that are going to turn their whole house upside down all day long. and so forth. You get the idea. That way I can practice what I need to work on. This is my gym. If chas v'shalom a person has an annoying boss, that's your gym. You have to work on your anger. Work on your patience. If I live in a community that I'm the last one or the least one that is in a good financial situation, everybody has around me more money than me, and constantly my jealousy is being triggered, I have to work on midat kina'ah, and so forth. How do you find what are your midot? Only if you humble yourself. Because if you don't humble yourself, and somebody will come and tell you, listen, you know, you have a problem with anger. I have a problem! How dare you tell me that I have a problem with anger? So if I'm not humble, I will never find out what are the midot that I need to work on. The people around you are always going to be the mirrors that are going to tell you what's your problems. Now, if you have a little bit of geava, you will not be happy to hear what people tell you. One person will tell you, you're always late. Why are you so not responsible? Instead of saying, I don't know, thank you for pointing it out. I will really try harder. Then you get upset. How dare you tell me that I'm always late? So what if I'm always late? I stopped to get a cup of coffee. What's the big deal? And I will find all the reasons why it's fine for me to be late all the time. So you want to make yourself a favor, do yourself a favor and humble yourself so you can recognize what are these midot ra'ot. Why am I saying it now? It's a good time because now you're cleaning the house for Pesach. Really cleaning the house for Pesach, it's more symbolic. Yes, you don't want to have chametz in the house. 2 days of good cleaning, you remove all the chametz in the house. Some people, they clean the chandeliers. Why? Somebody's sitting with a bread and going like this to the chandelier. There's chametz on the chandelier. Okay, so it's a good time to clean the house. I understand. 2 or 3 days you clean the whole house from chametz. We clean the house from chametz because it signifies that I clean from me my ego, my geava. Chametz means geava. Everybody has geava. So I have to clean it out. Why? So I can be humble. So the night of Leil Seder comes and a great godly light shines into me and elevates me to a place that I can fix myself, fix my midot, correct myself. Now, as I was explaining before, there's always going to be zeh u'mat zeh. The best midah of all, the highest of all of the midot is midat ha'anava. To be humble. To be tzanua. Look at Moshe Rabbeinu. He was a king. He was a billionaire. He was a prophet. He would talk to Hashem face to face. Nobody ever talked to the Kadosh Baruch Hu face to face. But still, midat ha'anava. V'aish haya anav mikol. The le'umat zeh, the other midah in front of anava is geava. The worst midah of all, pride. Now the way it works is that if one midah is being triggered, you push the button, it will right away birth more midot. If the midah of geava, of pride is being pushed, right away it will birth 2 midot, ka'as ve'atzvut, anger and sadness. If you get angry, it means your pride was touched. If you get sad, it means your pride was stepped on. That's how it works. And then from that it will start developing sin'ah, hate, kin'ah, jealousy, and one generation, more generation, more generation. I need to understand how to refine myself. A great part of refining myself is understanding the elements that are in my neshama. Because each neshama, yes, it comes from a different place in the world above, but each neshama also has different capacity and components of the elements. One person will have more of the element of fire. Now a lot of people say, if the person has a lot of fire in him, means he's going to be constantly angry. No, that's not always true. It's not always true, and there's a whole Torah, there's a whole teachings about the elements, and it's a very, very interesting and very, very practical. Now, why am I giving you all this preparation? To explain that every letter is rooted in one of the 4 elements. So we're going to go very briefly through the letters and the elements. If you want, maybe remember that later on. I know it's hard to remember. If you want, maybe write it down. If not, look at the video. It's going to be posted, like the Rabbi said, everywhere. Go and look at the rerun. Don't stop and start screaming, what is chet? Just listen, Bezrat Hashem. If you have a paper, write it down. It's important to know. The element of fire will be the essence of the following letters. The letter Aleph, the letter Gimel, the letter Daled, the letter Hey, the letter Tet, the letter Kaf, the letter Samech, and the letter Shin. So if your name starts with one of these letters, it means that the dominating letter of your name, Ota Neshama, is rooted in that element. Now, is fire good or fire bad? It depends. Very good. Fire has 6 qualities. 3 good, 3 bad. The good, you know what you do with fire? You cook. Without fire, you can't cook. Fire cooks. Fire, here you don't have this problem in Florida. I just came from New York. They have to heat the house. Here, natural heat. Here you can faint from the heat. I came out of the airplane, almost fainted on the floor. And they say in Eretz Israel it's hot. Fire also warms. Can you imagine not having the ability to warm something up? And most important, fire whitens. What does it mean, whitens? In Hebrew it says melabenet. It removes any type of dirt and impurity. You want to sanitize something, you burn it. You want to leachshir, to take a kli, a fork, a knife that became tameh, then you burn it. Or you put it in boiling hot water. So these are good character traits, qualities of fire. But move the fire to a different direction, the fire will burn, the fire will consume, fire swallows things, and it will darken things. If you burn something, it becomes black. So everything has good and bad. We're not going to start analyzing now every little point, but again, if your name is starting with the letters Gimel, Daled, Hey, Tet, Kaf, Samech, Shin, means your dominating letter is rooted in one of these elements. I'm going to explain a little bit more what are these elements so you can kind of relate with it. The next one is the element of Adama, earth. The letters Bet, the letter Vav, the letter Yud, the letter Ain, the letter Pei. Don't try now in your mind to start figuring out names. All the letters have names. But you try to recognize in your name which letter it starts. Now, I forgot to tell you something very, very important. Some people are born in America or in other countries and they get a Jewish name when they're born, but they go by an American name. What I'm talking about is only the Jewish name, not Jack or Mark. This is only for the Hebrew name, and if you don't have a Hebrew name, I highly suggest for you to consult with your rabbi to get a Jewish name, and that should be your real Jewish name that you call, if it's a man called to the Torah, if it's to pray for and so forth. It's not good to have names that are foreign names. And I'm saying to you as a personal advice, even if you do have a Jewish name, don't call yourself all these American names. Be proud of your name. You know that our sages were redeemed from Mitzrayim because one of the reasons they didn't change their names. They didn't change their language and they didn't change how they dress. Be proud of who you are. Don't change your name from Yaakov to Jake and all sorts of nonsense that I hear from Michael to Mike. Michael! Be proud of a holy name that you have. It's a name of a malach. Nevertheless, going back. So the element of Adama, of earth, Bet, Vav, Yud, Ain, and Pei. And again, everything has good and everything have bad. Very soon I will explain it more in depth. I want to go just through the letters. The next element is the element of water. The letters Chet, the letter Mem, the letter Nun, the letter Kuf, and the letter Taf are rooted in the element of water. And the last element is the element of air, and the letters are Aleph, Zain, Lamed, Pei, Tzadik, and Reish. Sometimes when I teach the crowd, there's always somebody very, very fast. No? Very good. Pei's twice. Pei is also in Avir and in Adama. Pinhas, Penina, and so forth. So there's a very deep reason about this Pei. In the course we'll be doing one class we did only about the Pei. What's the point with the Pei? Because many people have a Pei in their name. But nevertheless, So we know that every letter is rooted in one of the elements. Now comes another element, which is not an element, but another component that affects everything that I said now in a very profound way. There's something that is called signs. Libra, Sagittarius, Leo, Mazalot, the signs. The zodiac, astrology. The Ramchal says the Mazalot and the astrology is true. There's only one problem with it, that it's very, very limiting. Very limited. It doesn't show you everything. It will show you something very, very small. Besides the fact that we have the ability to go above the Mazalot. But nevertheless, the Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world, He governs the world through the Mazalot. But very important to note, don't open the Sunday Times and in the morning check everybody in the beginning of the week. This week you'll have a lot of difficulties. Oh no, what am I going to do this week? This is all nonsense. Don't believe in all this. People run right away to the column of the astrology. This week you're going to meet somebody special. Every encounter, who's special? So I know I used to be like this, believing in nonsense. But nevertheless, to take it out of context, the Ramchal gives us authority that the Mazalot are true, but very, very limited. So they will not give you enough information. They will give you very little information. For example, some people, they know that if I was born in Cheshvan, and the sign will be Scorpio, and if I'm born in the middle of the month, at the beginning of the month, or the end of the month, I can tell you a little bit about the person. But very, very limited. The Zohar Kadosh explains that if you know the day, the hour, and the time that the baby was conceived, it will give you 1,000 times more details. Now many people say, how can I know that? Well, a husband and wife that keep Taharat HaMishpacha, the family purity, I know it sounds a little bit mechanical, but they know when the child was conceived. And Api, the Sod, the mystical part of the Torah, there are certain hours that's when you want to pull down a neshama. But nevertheless, this just goes to show you that the Mazalot will tell you about you, but in a very limited way. Why am I saying that? Because when you want to calculate information about your name, it's also important the month you were born. So there are thousands of Sarah. But one Sarah was born on Tishrei, one Sarah was born on Cheshvan, one Sarah was born on Kislev, one Sarah was born in Kislev, but on a different day. And one of them was born at 2 o'clock in the morning, one of them was born at 3 o'clock in the morning. So there's differences. That's why I said when you calculate the information of the name, there's a lot of components and details. So very quickly I want to go a little bit more practical of a combination of a letter, sign, and element. How is that affecting me? I know I'm going to go a little bit fast. There's no time to start writing everything, and I know people start trying to stop me. Don't stop me. Go look at the video again and through the rerun, then you can write it down. I apologize, I should have come prepared and just write it down and give you out papers. This I know for next lecture, Be'ezrat Hashem. But now, Baruch Hashem, we have technology. You go and look at the rerun and you'll have the information. Just pay attention. Try to focus on what I'm saying, which month you were born, which means which sign you are. And again, a very important detail, the signs are going by the Jewish calendar, not by the American calendar. My wife, Shetichye, did Shuvah when she was 28 years old. All her life, she thought that she's a Libra because she was born on October 22nd. When she did Shuvah, she figured out she was born on Cheshvan and she's a Scorpio. And all her life she was like, now I understand. Now things make sense. So it doesn't go by the English calendar, it goes by the Hebrew calendar. So you have to know when you were born, and it goes again. If you were born on Kislev, and if it's on the border with December, then you have to know exactly when you were born. So it's important to know, don't go by the American, the English calendar, you go by the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew calendar. So we're going to start from the beginning. The element of fire. And again, there's not going to be now time to go through the attributes of every element. I'm going to throw a little bit of details. Try to pay attention because you will teach you a lot about yourself. The first element we're going to talk about is the element of fire. every element will be the essence to 3 signs. Just make a quick calculation. 4 elements times 3 signs per element, 12 signs. Okay? And the signs will be rooted in one of the elements. I have a lot of classes online, teachings from the Zohar, explaining where the elements rooted from in the Sfirot, in the world above, in the world of Atzilut, in the world of Yetzirah, Bria, and so forth, which is extremely interesting because the bottom line here is not to sound fancy. The bottom line is to learn about myself. So going back again to the element of fire, there are 3 signs that are rooted in the element of fire. These are Taleh, which is Aries. If I pronounce the word wrong, please correct me. I don't want to say a word and then people don't know what I'm talking about. The next one is Aryeh. Aryeh means a Leo. And the third one is Kashat. Kashat is a Sagittarius. So you have the element is fire. The sign is Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. If a person has a letter in his name, doesn't matter right now, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. If in your name you have the letters Gimel, Daled, Hey, Tet, Kaf, Samech, Shin, doesn't matter 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, doesn't matter. And you were born in one of these 3 months, dominating qualities of the person, and again the qualities can be both good and bad, but the person will be a doer, initiator. And again, to initiate, you can initiate something positive. You can initiate a Irgun Tzedakah and feed many people, and you can initiate also a terror organization, Chas v'Shalom. So to be an initiator, how you direct it. Sometimes my words in English are not so precise. The word in Hebrew is Yozem, that I go and initiate something. The next thing will be that it will be a very warm person. And again, warm can be very loving, very giving, and so forth, and also can be very angry and very upset, and you don't want to mess with a person like that. Very optimistic, very strong quality, seeing all the time good in things, seeing positive things. Very strong opinions. This is the person you don't want to argue about politics. Very strong opinions. You're not going to be able to move that person 1 millimeter. Some people, you'll tell them your opinion, they'll be like, you know what, let me go and check. Let me research. I will, it sounds like an option. Some people on the spot will tell you, no, I'm not listening to you. This is my opinion, end of story. Very, very high bitachon atzmi, self-confidence. Sometimes self-confidence is bad because you have too much self-confidence, you can be destructive. But self-confidence is something very good that everybody wants to have. Very, very, very charutz. Charutz is not ambitious. Charutz is that you... Diligent. Thank you. So these are some qualities that you can find in yourself if there's this connection that I just said. And like I said, everyone can be directed to good or to bad. And just to remind you again, that I'm going very on the surface. This is not mamash, because just to point a very important thing is, now I said about the letters of fire. It makes a huge difference if it's the first letter or the last letter. It will completely change everything. But just so we have something. Next. The next element is Adama. Adama means earth or afar. That's the right word. This will be the root, the essence of Shor, a Taurus, Betula, a Virgo, and Agedi, Capricorn, and the months that come with it. A person that will have one of the following letters, Bet, Bela, Bila, I don't know, Binyamin, Vav, Yud, Ain, and Pei, then there will be dominating qualities of a very materialistic person. And again, in many cases, the materialistic is not good, but there are situations materialistic can be very good. Again, don't get hooked now that something's good or bad. Anything can be good or bad. Like I told you with the fire. Fire can consume, but fire can also heal. Besides being very materialistic, also very practical. Some people, their heads are in some different sphere. These are very practical people. Very sure, very calculated, not too risky, not going and investing money all over the place in Bitcoin and all sorts of nonsense. Very secure and organized, very calculated. A lot of life insurances and different insurances and everything is, I'm not moving anywhere without anything is laid out and secured. Very strong, stable individual. Very mature, very serious, very responsible, very disciplined. Usually people like this are very good soldiers, very good policemen, very good firemen, very good workers. I know an individual that when he hires people, he takes their name and he tells them, don't call me, I'll call you. And analyzes the name and says, I don't care if the person is materialistic. He's responsible. He's a doer. He's mature. He's honest. Hire him. So all this that I'm telling you is that you can know, first of all, about yourself, good qualities and bad qualities. A lot of people don't know that they possess such good qualities and they don't know how to apply that. Remember I told you that the last letter represents how you take from the koach lapoal, from your potential to action. You need to know what's your potential. You know that most people don't even know what's their potential. They don't even know what they're capable of. Nevertheless, that person will be very patient, very strong and healthy common sense, very persistent, very good quality. Very important to know that the element of earth has a very positive side and a very negative side. The negative side is something that we all suffer from because earth is heavy and it pulls the person down. Sadness, depression, very quick to be heavy. This is not good. To be very careful not to fall into that because very few things can elevate the weight of the Adama, of the earth. But if you take earth and you nourish it, you know what it does? It grows things. You know, Eretz Yisrael now 2,000 years, it was swamps, it was desert, it was nothing. It all depends what you put in the ground. If you nourish the ground with water, the right water, and fertilize, it will grow anything. So don't think for 1 second one is bad, one is good. You need to recognize what you have and know what to do. A person that has a very strong element of afar, of earth in his existence, is to learn a lot of Torah. A lot of Torah. Why? The Torah is ruled to water. You nourish the Adama, the earth, constantly. A lot of Torah, you will grow and grow and grow. Zorei tzedakot matzmiach yeshuot. You plant seeds and it will grow unbelievable produce. Next is air. Air. Air is avir. It will be the essence of Teomim, Gemini, of Moznaim, Libra, and Gli. Gli is Aquarius. So any person that has in their name Aleph, Zain, Lamed, Pei, Tzadik, and Reish, and that has born in one of these months, then we'll have the following. Very amazing imagination. Send them to Hollywood, we'll make great movies. Will be a good graphic designer, great interior designer, very creative, unbelievable ideas. Can go and work for NASA. Very creative in their thoughts. Very intelligent. Some people are less, some people are more. This is very, very intelligent. Very logic. Very good engineers. Very good architects. Very good in ha'amakat hadat, going down to depths of something. The great Tanaim, great sages, great Rabbanim can go into depths of something. Some person can learn on the surface and that's it. That's where it stops. Some people can go very, very, very deep into something and be a good lawyer to go deep into the law and so forth. I'm just throwing ideas. You're related to your life. Very high of self-awareness. Some people are not aware of what's going on around them. Or they're not aware of themselves. One hair is here, one hair is here, one hair there, one part of the shirt is like that. This is a person that's very self-awareness of what's going on around him, who's around him, what's going on, walks into a room, sees everything. Very high self-awareness. Very friendly, very quick thought, will think of solutions very quick, very high communication, likes to, very curious, likes to research. Some people, you'll give them something, they'll just tell you, where do I press? Another person will give me the guidebook. I was like this when I was a kid. Somebody will give me a toy, I will take a screwdriver and turn it apart. I want to see how every little spring works here. But you broke the whole thing. I need to know how it's working. Usually these people will not live in routine. Routine will kill that type of a person. Some people, they need to wake up in the morning and every day the same thing. The cup of coffee has to be with exactly 1 spoon of sugar. This person will not be able to survive in a routine. Every day has to be something completely different. And very open-minded. You'll come and present a situation, a business offer, a theory. Okay, let me listen. I will go, research, learn, I'll come up with my own opinions and my conclusion. Air has a very unique quality. I know that people are constantly looking if they have these letters in their name. This is a very powerful element because it has a quality that it affects all the elements. Take fire, for example. How do you make fire stronger? Add air. How do you dilute earth? With air. Without air in the ground, nothing will grow. If I can put a lot of manure, a lot of seeds, if I don't air the ground, which means to plow, I don't penetrate into the ground, nothing will grow. And water also has air in it. It's built with air, H2O. So air is very, very powerful. Next, mine, water. Water will be the root of Sartan, of cancer, Akrav, Scorpio, and Dagim, Pisces. A person that has water in their name, the letters Chet, Mem, Nun, Kuf, and Taf, and again, can be first, second, or third, fourth, and fifth, and so forth, will be an extremely emotional person. Very, very emotional. Emotional can be good, emotional can be bad, of course. Gets hurt like this, but will forgive like that. 3 minutes later, 3 seconds later, they already forgive. Very easy to give in. Are we going to sushi tonight or pizza? Sushi. No, we're going to pizza. Okay. That's it. Gives in very simple. But no common sense. No type of sense or common sense at all. Sense is not common. I don't know why they say common sense, but nevertheless. Amazing person with zero common sense. I know somebody like that. When it comes to decisions, this is the person you do not want to give a checkbook or a credit card or any code to any safe or bank accounts. This is the type of person that a beggar will come and tell him, I'm hungry. No problem. I have a one bedroom apartment downtown. Here's the keys. Give him $20. Let him buy something to eat. Why are you giving him an apartment? Good and bad, everything's from the heart with that person. Very, very deep heart. But when they give, it's with the heart. When they curse, it's also from the heart. This is not a curse that comes from the lips. This is a curse from Hashem Yerachem, where it's coming from. Very generous, very merciful, Rahman, a lot of Rachamim. And a type of person that the entire world is leaning on. How do you call the back of the chair? In Hebrew it's called Mish'anet. This is the person the whole world is leaning on. Very good psychiatrists and therapists. But very moody. 1 second happy, 1 second sad, the next day upset, and 3 different moods in 1 hour. So, this is again very, very briefly. I know I went through a lot of information very, very fast. Forgive me, there's no other way of doing it. But, Baruch Hashem, I said it and I'll repeat it. There's the video, go and look at it again, write down the letters, write down your name. And take the letters from your name, from which element, which characteristics. It will help you a lot to know about yourself. Don't become OCD on it. I know people who will call me I read, first of all, relax. קודם כל תירגעי. No, but I read, don't now start analyzing it. Don't take it very simple and don't go into depth because it can be extremely confusing. But take down what I wrote, write down what I said, take the letters, write your name, Sarah, Shin, Resh, Hey, how it's exactly written. Some people write Yaakov with a Vav, without a Vav, and the Hebrew name, if you have two names, then all the name, the last name has zero importance. Some people think the last name means anything. It doesn't mean nothing. Once they wouldn't even call last names. They would say Moshe ben Yaakov, the son of Yaakov. Today they added a last name. It's good for the IRS, Social Security, and the mailman. That's it. Nothing else. The FedEx guy will not come and say, are you Moshe ben Chaim? I have a box for you. So they attach a last name. Last name has zero meaning to it. I know a lot of people, there's heritage, there's yichus and so forth, chas v'shalom. I'm not mocking the last name. I'm just saying in regards to knowing about your name, there's no importance to the last name. Take it, write it down. Remember all the information that I told you, how the first letter, what it teaches you, a lot about your past, where you came from. Most people don't understand that 90% of what they're doing in this world is paying bills of a previous incarnation. And they do not understand why things not always work out. Why this business deal didn't work out. Why this shidduch doesn't work out. Why I have an issue here. Why I have to be chas v'shalom lo aleinu v'lo alechem, divorced 3 times. Why this and why that. The reason why it's important to know, because people lose their faith, they lose their hope, they lose their sanity, because they don't understand why they're going through challenges. Unfortunately, in our generation, everybody's juggling challenges all day long. That's the reality, and it's a sad reality. Everywhere that I go, I must look like a wall, because everybody comes and talks to me. When I told this joke to my wife, she was like, what do you mean you look like a wall? I said, well, go to Yerushalayim. Everybody goes to the Kotel HaMa'aravi, put their head in there, and they start talking and saying all the problems. So everywhere that I go, I hear all the problems, and a lot of them. And Hashem Yerachem, but a lot of the problems are for me to work on myself, to refine myself, and many times I have to be patient, and the challenge will pass, but I'm doing a tikkun. To emphasize what I'm saying, I'll tell you quickly a story. I told you, in the holy city of Tzfat. Every stone there has a history. You just breathe the air there, you're in a different dimension. All my neighbors are Neshamot Kedoshot. I live next to the Arizal, next to the Ramak, next to Rabbi Shlomo El-Kabetz, Rabbi Yosef Karo, Bala Bet Yosef, and so forth. Very, very holy place. There's a story that occurred 450 years ago in the city of Tzfat. There was a very wealthy man. He was the gvir, the rich person of the city, and he had a very special young daughter. But unfortunately, he couldn't marry her off. Doesn't matter how much money he offered, where he looked, couldn't find another shidduch for the daughter. Finally, after many years, she finds it in the man, and she comes and tells him, Abba, I found a very special young man, I want to marry him. She brings the young man over. He sees a very pale guy, sits in the yeshiva all day long and learns Torah, barely gets any vitamin D, very pale. It was in Florida, barely any sun. Learns Torah all day long. Father, is this what you're bringing me? I need somebody to run the business. What are you bringing me, this yeshiva bachur? Okay, you like him, fine. Comes the day of the wedding. The father of the bride comes to the groom with a huge amount of money, and he tells him, here's this large amount of money, this is half of what I own. I know you're going to sit and learn Torah all day long, and I know you're not going to work, so I want you to have money to support my daughter. Very nice father-in-law. Comes the day of the wedding, everything is nice, beautiful wedding. A month after the wedding, the bride dies. Comes the father of the bride to the groom and tells him, give me back my money. The groom says, why should I give you back the money? It's mine. The father says, no, it's not yours. I gave you the money to support my daughter. The daughter died. Give me back my money. They start arguing. Like two good Jews, they go to the Beit Din. The Av Beit Din is Marana Bet Yosef, Yosef Karo. He's the Av Beit Din, the Mara de Atra. They come to him. present this the case. The Bet Yosef says to the father, you keep the money. According to halacha, you're right. Money goes back to the father. The groom says, I don't agree with the verdict. When you don't agree with the verdict, what do you think? This is like small claims court? This is a Beit Din. This is the verdict. No, I don't agree with it. I think the money belongs to me. I want to see the Arizal. Rabbi Yitzchak Luria. He says, what do you think? He's your friend? You're going to go and knock on the door and have a cup of coffee with him? No. I want to see the Ari Kadosh. Okay, they go to the Ari Kadosh. The Ari Kadosh was a very, very holy soul. He had an angel, what is called a Magid. Some individuals, they have an angel that whispers in the ear everything that is about to happen. So the two individuals walk into the room. The Arizal already knew everything. They just walked into the room. The Arizal says, the groom keeps the money. Oh. Groom is very happy. The father now is very upset. What does it mean the groom keeps the money? The Beit Din did a psak din. I get the money. The Arizal says to him as follows. Listen, according to halacha, you're right. You can get the money and you should get the money. This is according to halacha. But I'm telling you, and he's telling it to the father, you, your daughter who died, and this young man are all Gilgul that came back to this world. Gilgul is an incarnation. In a previous life, you, your daughter, and him were partners. You and your daughter cheated him out of his money. All three of you came back to this world. Now you and your daughter are paying him back the money. Now, you can take the money back. You're all going to have to come back here again. Or give him back the money. You will get your tikkun. Your daughter will get her tikkun. She'll stay in Gan Eden. He will get the tikkun. Shalom al Israel. So many things happen in our life and we don't understand why it happens. Sometimes something happens and is beyond what I understand, but I have to understand there's a tikkun here. There's a rectification. That's why our sages say, Kabbalah Isurim Be'ava, accept the hardship with love. So it's important to know, there are many ways to know that. I told you through the lines in the hand. Don't go to all these hocus pocus that looks in your hand and, oh, no. Where I live, we have all these phonies. I mean, it's the city of Kabbalah. You know, the tour buses come in, you can sell them whatever they want. Whatever you want, you'll sell them. People come and like, wow. And people come to them with all sorts of strings and bottles. This is healthy air. It's holy air. They buy everything. You can sell them whatever you want. So there are all these cuckoos that look at you. I read incarnations. You are a very old soul. Really? It says on my soul the date of manufacture. So we have all these cuckoos there. So don't fall for these cuckoos who look at your hand and tell you, what? What do you see? It's going to cost a lot of money. So, but there are ways to find out where I came from. It's not hocus pocus. It's my tikkun. Why do I want to find it? Because I don't want to come back here again. Mashiach is coming very soon. I want to reach my tikkun. I need to refine myself. And if I have deep inside of me characteristics, midot that I need to refine, I need to know how to refine it. You can't wake up in the middle of your life or at the end of your life, chas v'shalom, and say, I didn't do anything with my life. I'm still the same person how I was when I was 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. If you can't look back at your life and say, ooh, when I was 20, look where I was, now look how I am. If there's no spiritual growth, emotional growth in your life, you're stepping on one spot. You are walking on a conveyor belt in the wrong direction. So you're on the same spot. So what you want to take from tonight is not necessarily every little detail. It's first of all to understand how important your name is. And don't, like I said before, shorten the name, nicknames, all this. Be very proud and happy about your name. If you don't have a Hebrew name, talk to your rabbi. Consult with your rabbi. You need a Jewish name. Of course, if you're Jewish, of course. But you want to take something more deeper from tonight is how do you refine yourself? Now, unfortunately, when I speak, everybody agrees with what I say. I call it the Chihuahua syndrome. You know the Chihuahua, the Taco Bell Chihuahua? They have it on the dashboard, you press the brakes, and the head agrees. Everybody tonight agreed with me. A few people fell asleep there, but the majority nodded. The question is, what do you do when you go out of the room? If you go out of the room and everything goes back to factory reset, then what did you do here tonight? You came to warm the chair. When I first became observant, I used to go to Shiur Torah. My wife would tell me, Lech leShiur Torah, go and learn Torah. I would come back. She would tell me, no, what did you learn? I learned Torah. Mom, what are you talking about? I went to the Shiur Torah. But what did you learn? Torah. But what? Parashat HaShavua. No, tell me something. It's too late. Tell me. Shabbat, I'll tell you. Tell me, what did you learn tonight? It's so deep, you're not going to get it. Rosh Balata, cement head. I went out of the door. Everything was erased. Didn't remember one word. So I'm not expecting people to remember what I say. But you want to take something out of the room that you apply in your life. If you're smart, go watch the video another 3-4 times. Write the information down. Open some books. Go to my website. See the whole course. Get some information. Make a quick analogy. See who you are. What you are. What's your purpose. What are your good characteristics and talents. You know that if you have a talent, Hashem gave you a gift to use. If you do not use your talent, why did Hashem give you a talent? You have to use it for something, and if you're not using it, you're not performing your purpose. And a talent can be even painting, cooking, whatever it is. You have to find out your good characteristics. Why? So you can empower them and feed them and grow them. If I'm generous, then use this generosity. If I'm very patient, do something about it. And needless to say, on the negative side, that I have to work on that. If I'm quick to anger, then don't be so angry. Work on your midat hakas, on your anger. If you're very quick to jealous or quick to judge. And the thing is that it's not about being ashamed of that you're bad or a defective product. That's how Hashem created us, with bad midot and good midot. And now is a very good opportunity, because on Pesach is when I'm able to clean all the geava, all the ego, all the chametz in me, to be able to look in the mirror and say, who am I kidding? I'm not so responsible. Who am I kidding? My wife is right. I'm a slob. What? Not me. Who am I kidding? I'm not honest. I'm impatient. And then when you humble yourself, you see around you who are the mirrors that will show you exactly what you need to work on. Your wife will show, well, it's in your case will be your husband, but your spouse will show you if you have to be working on your patience, on whatever midah. And everybody around you are shlichim, are emissaries of the Kadosh Baruch Hu to show you how to refine yourself. So you want to do yourself a favor and leave the door tonight with some thought and saying, okay, what am I taking out of this lecture tonight so I can better myself? And what you want to do is to really look inside of you and ask yourself the questions that I asked you in the beginning of the class is, what is the purpose of this world? What is the purpose of my creation? And if I'm walking on the right path. You do not want to find yourself walking on the right path, wrong path. You want to walk on the right path. You want to reach to a tikkun. When you are refining yourself, you are a better person. You accept challenges in your life in a much more patient way. You don't get angry, you don't get upset. You don't get jealous, you don't get judgmental. You sleep better. You have good mood. You're happy. You restful. You're not under pressure. You don't fall into sadness and depression and anxiety. And your life becomes a much better life. And when your life becomes a much better life, then your spouse and your kids and your neighbors and everybody also has a much better life. So Bezrat Hashem, Hashem mevarech otchem that you have a bracha in everything that you do, that when you go out of this door tonight, you have the right common sense and the right knowledge to work on yourself. And Bezrat Hashem, I'm going to wish you already all now beracha v'atzlacha in everything that you do. Hashem should bless you with happiness and health and success. And Bezrat Hashem should have a happy and kosher Pesach. And most important, that you should all merit to reach to your ultimate tikkun. And the ultimate tikkun of the world is that we're all going to be back in Eretz Israel and see the coming of Mashiach very soon with our own physical eyes. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for Kvod Harav for opening the Beit Knesset.
For those watching the Lighthouse project, tomorrow the Rabbi is being honored to give my morning class at around 9:10 in the breakfast room. For the wonderful ladies that are here, Be'ezat Hashem, we're going to work on the link overnight. And for those that are registered in the email list of the Midrashah, we'll be getting a link to tonight's lecture. So as the Rabbi said before, you can listen several times and do your own drawings. And we say thank you, Rabbi, for a very beautiful and inspiring and an eye-opening shiur. And Be'ezat Hashem, we'll hear the Rabbi again tomorrow morning. For next Monday evening, we're going to be featuring Mrs. Dina Dorenbuch, that will be talking about the Jewish women, the heroines of Pesach. As we know, this coming Shabbat will be Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and we're moving already into Pesach mode. And Be'ezat Hashem, we'll see each other next week as well. Have a great night to everyone. Anybody who wants to register to the email, please write your name and email address. Have a great night, everybody.